Hello, everyone. This is my presentation for SM 535 on corporate logos and brands on college uniforms and playing surfaces and why the NCAA should implement this. Why the NCAA should consider this, it's a big revenue stream that can bring in hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars for an athletic department. It would add a big boost to athletic departments across the country, specifically in the Power Four, because those are obviously the biggest conferences with the biggest schools. So corporations will be more likely to want to work with them and be seen at the level they can. It allows corporations to be seen on a bigger scale and reach a bigger audience because like the SEC, they have the biggest viewership in college football. Around 29% of all college football fans watch the SEC, with the Big Ten coming in second and Big 12 and ACC falling behind them two. And while obviously the SEC is the biggest and they allow a bigger opportunity. The other three conferences still have the ability to reach out and show on a bigger scale and have a big audience, but due to being in the Power Four conference. It can help athletic departments and schools when it comes to NIL with a recent ruling that colleges can directly pay student athletes out of a revenue sharing pool of around $20 million. This would be a big boost and would help them be able to bring in money not only for that, but it also could help with upgrading facilities or their stadiums or anything of that. Many professional sports have already implemented this into their leagues, such as the NBA, NASCAR, Major League Soccer, and currently 23 of 32 Major League Baseball teams have this implemented. Um, Here's a few photos that show like what a logo would look like on a basketball jersey, and then you got NASCAR driver Austin Dillon with the Bass Pro Shops. And then current like recently now that MLB teams have this, um, they have a little patch on their arm that shows like what corporation is sponsoring them and who they're working with. The impact it has had on professional sports such as the NBA has been drastic. It brings in a few million dollars to multi-million dollars depending on the team and what corporation's working with them. For the example I've done was the Golden State Warriors make 20 million annually from Rakuten, and just by simply having the small little 2.5 inch patch on the shoulder right there is a big boost to teams with being able to bring in money. The impact that the corporate logos and brands would have on college athletics would be monumental. Currently, the NCAA only allows corporate logos on fields at bowl games or like if a corporation purchased the naming rights to the stadium or the facility. As it says in here, Alaskan Airlines Field at University of Washington. And I also know like you got University of Tennessee, their basketball arena is Thomas Boyling Arena at the Food City Center. So just by simply allowing a corporation to put their name on something can bring in loads of money. Um, the money it would bring into college specifically, you got the conference and teams revenue projections. By simply having a Walmart logo or Tyson Foods or Gatorade, or just anything on a 25 and 50-yard line, and on like like on the jersey with a small little patch. SEC schools are saying they could make at least $1 million from just the 25-yard lines sponsorship, and 5 million in jersey patches in a given season. But this would also depend on um, what corporation they're working with, and it would also vary from league to league because of the size of the school, who's willing to work with who, and stuff like that. And as I mentioned, the NCAA passed a ruling that would allow Power Four schools to directly pay athletes from a revenue sharing pool of around $20 million. And it would be important that schools and athletic departments find that extra revenue stream that will be able to compete with this new sharing pool along with NIL, and corporate logos on a jersey or on a field would simply be able to supply that demand and be able to help support these athletic programs just by simply allowing them to, as you can see in the Arkansas picture, put a small logo on the 25-yard line. As I mentioned in the previous slide, it would bring in millions by simply just doing that. A possible corporations that WVU could work with, GoMart, they have a $200 million in revenue annually, which they could easily give out $1 million or $2 million to have their logo on a basketball uniform, or the football uniform, or even put their GoMart logo on the field or the court. Tudor's Biscuit World, I know, is massive here in West Virginia. Everybody loves it. Everybody talks about it. You're going to a Mountaineer game, the line for Tudor's wraps around the building. So that would be someone that WVU could potentially look at, and it would be someone that, because of working with WVU and being in the state of West Virginia, they would be able to get a decent amount of money from simply putting the Tudor's Biscuit World logo on the field or on the jersey. And in the next picture, you can see like what all brands WVU currently works with that they could potentially reach out to if these other two were to fall in, or these other ones could give more money, like Toyota, Gatorade, Kroger, State Farm. Coca-Cola has a massive gap in revenue to these other two that I mentioned. So, I mean, there's options out there for these schools. They just need to find what corporations they're wanting to work with, and what ones can also foot the bill that's going to be asked to do this. What it looks like from a fan perspective, this is a couple of pictures from bowl games and what the fields look like, but this is also what it would look like for like a Mountaineer game or Auburn or Tennessee. Just a small little logo on the 25 or around the 20-yard line that just lets you know Outback is sponsoring this team, or Nokia is sponsoring this team. Corporations we could see colleges work with: Disney, Coca-Cola, Bud Light, Gatorade, and they all have massive revenue generation, and fans know who they are. So they would not only be able to supply these teams with a good amount of money, but fans would also be able to relate to the product. Um, colleges and athletic departments would need to find corporations on not only a national level but a local level that are willing to work with them. And this is where Learfield would play a big role in helping these universities find corporations that they are able to work with, have the money, and so on. Having corporate logos and brands on uniforms and playing surfaces would also help the universities generate money because of the amount of money that these brands are able to give, upwards of millions of dollars. So that's just an extra big amount of money that they can put towards their athletic department, teams, and so on. And with NIL being so big right now, the average NIL deal is around $1,000 to 10,000. But as we've seen with teams such as Texas, Florida, Tennessee, every big school you can think of is paying players crazy amounts. As I mentioned, the University of Tennessee quarterback, his NIL deal is around $8 million. That's more than a good amount of NFL players are making right now in their 10th, 12th year in the league. So it's drastically changing day to day, and it's important that schools are able to keep up with it, and it would be a big boost to help not only smaller schools like ACC schools compared to the SEC be able to compete with the athletes that they're trying to recruit. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.